Most people can't see the middle truth. Let's sort that concept out. This is something I've been thinking about a lot recently, when it comes to several things, like the COVID vaccination, for example. You have one side who believes that if you get the vaccination, you're accepting the mark of the beast. You've got a magnetic tracker in your blood. Your heart's going to explode. You're going to become paralyzed, etc. The other side, maybe on the extreme side, says everyone should be getting this vaccine. This should be mandated, and you should still wear masks. Well, what about people in the middle? What do you do? Is it the worst thing to get the vaccine, but to at the same time not think that everyone else should have to get it? Can you just get the vaccine and move on with your life? Can you not be in the middle? Now that's one example. Another example, and I have a friend who raises horses, and I'd always wondered this and speculated, but I said, what happens to the horses after you can't use them in shows anymore when they get older? I mean, they're still alive, but they're expensive to maintain. So what happens then? And it was basically revealed to me what, again, I already speculated. Where does dog food come from? What is that exactly? Well, lots of things, I'm sure. But to say there's absolutely no horse meat in there, I don't think that would quite be true. Look into it. So that's the reality of it. Now, some would say, that's horrible. That's horrible and inhumane that they slaughter horses just because they can't perform in the shows, or maybe the horse just can't be tamed and they just want to get rid of it, so they sell it to this other guy, and then we find out he took it to a horse slaughterhouse in Mexico. That's horrible that they slaughter horses. Well, but what if you own dogs as pets, and what are you feeding them? Can you definitely know for a fact that you're never feeding them horse meat? I mean, there are certain brands of food that will specify salmon only or whatever it is, but a lot of dog food comes from horses that were slaughtered because they just weren't tame enough. They couldn't be tamed enough for shows, or they were getting older and that sort of thing. So we exist in this paradox where it's bad to slaughter horses for meat. Well, do you have a pet dog? Yeah. What do you feed it? Do you feed it horse meat? No. Are you sure? And then you find out, oh, it's horse meat. So, what do you do in that situation? How can you be a proud dog owner and at the same time know that horses are being slaughtered because they can't be tamed enough, or they're too old, or whatever it is? So, can you be in that middle ground, in that middle truth where, like for me, I don't own a dog, I don't own a horse, and I can think, yeah, as an outsider, I get it. Like, if you're spending all this money on horses and it can't be tamed, and what do you do with it? Nobody wants it because it can't be tamed. So you sell it to Joe over here and you don't ask questions and you get your money. Not as much as you could, it had been a trainable horse, but at least you get your money. Well, that money ended up getting turned into dog food and feeding someone else's dog. I can accept that. Their life is full of contradictions and paradoxes and things that make us feel uncomfortable at times. But I think because of our culture, we get to a point where you have to choose one side or the other. But what about that middle truth? What about the reality of it? What happens when the smoke clears when you say, okay, and this is how I have to live my life now, as I try to grasp what my own perceptions of reality are and what my own opinions are. Ultimately, what does this extreme side say about it? What does this extreme side say about it? Now let me remove that. Is there anything still hanging on that makes sense out of anything that they said? They've said a lot of crazy stuff on both sides, but is there anything that they almost both seem to agree on to some degree at all that doesn't seem? What's the non-craziest sounding part of both sides? And even if no one else is saying that thing in the middle, and maybe the middle is way out here actually, wherever it is, that's what I'm looking for. And I think that's how things are becoming. I think we will eventually realize that the more extreme a belief is, the more, and especially if it has a polarized opposite side, saying the opposite of that, then probably either or are something that I want to be a part of. I probably want to find that middle truth. Truth is hard to know, and there's that ancient Chinese proverb, who knows what is right and what is wrong? Well, I'm sorting that out in so many ways in my life. But ultimately, middle truth is what I'm looking for. I'm escaping the extremes that our society teaches us that we must cater to, whether it's CNN or Fox News, one or the other. I'm not interested. I identify as a centrist. And by doing that, I feel I get a little bit closer to what the truth is, what I call middle truth. Do you have thoughts on this? They belong right here in the comments.